It was one of the worst cases I've ever dealt with.
In 2012, Inspector Kirsty Withnell led a raid on an animal centre in Oxfordshire following an anonymous tip-off that animals were being mistreated. And what she found would go down as one of the RSPCA's worst cases. Some viewers may find this footage disturbing.
As soon as I arrived, it became quite clear there was a very big problem there. I could hear a large number of dogs barking, and there was an overpowering smell of dog faeces. It was just total chaos.
There's a scene of squalor. The floor is just wet with squashed dog faeces, some of which is white where it's gone mouldy.
It may be hard to believe, but the kennels was a family-run business that advertised clean and affordable boarding kennels through the Yellow Pages. The owners of the centre offered a door-to-door pick-up and drop-off service, which ensured that owners never set foot inside their premises.
It was absolutely disgusting. There was dogs living in the most disgusting conditions imaginable, absolute filth and squalor.
20 dogs of various breeds, including puppies, were discovered at the centre.
It appears like a mound, which I can only assume is a mixture of not even mud, but faeces.
Some were thin, some had skin problems, some didn't want to move. It was a really pitiful sight. It was shocking to see so many animals living in the most disgusting conditions imaginable.
One of the last animals to be discovered was a male golden retriever.
I particularly remember sort of his eyes being sunken into his head. He was totally emaciated. His hips, spine and ribs were poking out.
Thankfully, the vet discovered he was microchipped and that his name was Winston. Now Kirsty was able to contact his overjoyed owners, Sandy and Jim Luca, who had had to kennel Winston at the centre for a year due to illness.
They came to visit Winston, and he'd been really dull and depressed in the kennels since he'd been there, and he was so pleased to see his owners.
When he saw us, God, he went spared, jumping up to us, wasn't he?
Yeah. And they
rushing round.
Well, everyone,
they couldn't
the
believe.
whole place, everybody was crying.
Everybody, including us.
After being given the all clear by the vets, Winston was returned home to Sandy and Jim.
He was running around, wasn't he? We took him for a walk
He was
round.
licking my face.
Licking Sandy's face.
Ah.
We couldn't believe we'd found him, I think.
In 2013, the owners of the Animal Rescue Centre were successfully prosecuted and were given a suspended prison sentence and banned from keeping animals for life.
It was one of the worst cases I've ever dealt with. Seeing animals living in such terrible conditions is something that will always stay with me, and I think everyone involved will always remember. Seeing animals in that condition really was quite unbelievable.
Yeah. There. Yeah. Lovely, isn't it?
Yes. Ever since the day he was born, he followed Jim everywhere once he could walk.
He looks amazing now, and the difference is quite incredible.
It shows you how strong a dog he is to survive the experiences he went through there.
Winston had a very narrow escape.
I brushed his head today.
And Sandy and Jim know they're lucky to have him still with them.